Well, howdy there, folks. Here at the AMC Showplace 12 in Muncie, I'm going to go see Interstellar. So, the latest Christopher Nolan flick, so let's pop on in and see what it's like.
What are you going to do with it?
I'm gonna give it something socially responsible to do.
Can't we just let it go?
This thing needs to learn how to adapt, Murph.
Gang, let's mask up.
Like the rest of us. This world's a treasure. But it's been telling us to leave for a while now.
Your daughter's generation will be the last to survive on Earth. You're the best pilot we ever had. Get out there and save the world.
Everybody ready to say goodbye to our solar system? To our galaxy. Here we go. We're here. Want to get down fast, don't we?
Actually, we want to get there in one piece.
Hang on. We have a mission. Our mission does not work if the people on Earth are dead by the time we pull it off.
Well, we got this far, farther than any human in history.
Well, not far enough.
Make it count.
Where's the mountains?
Those aren't mountains. They're waves.
I'm not gonna make it!
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
You might have to decide between seeing your children again and the future of the human race.
We'll find a way. We always have.
Well, welcome back. I took about 24 hours to rest up after seeing the film because kind of a long movie. I'm, of course, talking about Christopher Nolan's new film, Interstellar. If you like any of Christopher Nolan's movies, I would check this one out, because if you so much as like the film Inception, you will like this movie. It's kind of got that same vibe that Inception had. Even though there's a lot in this movie I can't tell you, because, you know, like, it's typical with any Christopher Nolan movie is, anyone that does a review, if you spoil it, there's no point in going to see the movie, because it's just one little thing, one little detail that you give out could spoil the whole thing. The movie stars Matthew McConaughey. He's this farmer who living in, we don't know where exactly he's living, because everything is it's in a well, maybe not post-apocalyptic, but it's kind of in a apocalyptic world, and everything is dying. He's raising crops. We find out that he's a mechanical engineer. He's very well educated, but he's just, other than that, he's just your average guy. He's just trying to survive and protect his family. His wife is dead, or well, at least we assume she's dead. They don't really say, but he has a son and he has a daughter. And he's very close to the daughter, and the daughter has a wild imagination. Well, she doesn't really have a wild imagination, but she's very, very smart. She knows what she's doing, and Dad doesn't believe her. But one night, something happens in the daughter's room. It causes him to investigate what's going on because it's normal. It's something that we take for granted. I'm not going to tell you what that is because, again, it would spoil the whole thing. So he goes to this secret underground scientists. Actually, I can give this one away. It's NASA. Because the governments have failed. The government can no longer support any like recreational things like space exploration, things like that. It all goes to the things that we need, like schools and police and things like that. But they end up choosing him to go on this mission to find another planet, going through wormholes to find another planet, come back, and take the human race with them. But I'd like to say you got to see the movie because a lot of things don't turn out the way they plan. There's some big twists, and what sounds like that simple plan ends up becoming almost disastrous, and there's a lot to do with space, obviously space, and of course when you're in space, they take the idea that once you're in space or going through these wormholes, it ages Earth like several times, and when you step onto another planet, it ages Earth like so many years, and it's yeah, it's really, really deep stuff. Typical out of Christopher Nolan. He's going to give you, your popcorn, but at the same time, he's going to give you something that you're going to be thinking about. Like with Inception, it was the whole, we liked the idea that it was a crime movie, but, it's stuck in a dream. And it just went down, and, they're dreaming within a dream, and it just, to the point where you're like, where are we? This is kind of in that same vein. But, Christopher Nolan is a indeed talented filmmaker, and he's going to please the stuff that's going to entertain you, but also at the same time, he's going to make you think a little bit. He's not just, somebody like Michael Bay who's going to throw a bunch of special effects and eye candy at you and to say, oh, I'm going to keep you occupied for the next 2.5 hours and while I take all your money. No, Christopher Nolan's not that type of person. He's going to give you something, eye candy, plus make you think about it. Make you think, okay, what if this character does this? What happens if the character does that? And he also shows major consequences when the characters make those decisions. And plus, he's going to make you scratch your head a little bit and going, what is this? Where are we? See the movie, because there is a moment, definitely a few moments, where you're going to be scratching your head and going, where is Matthew McConaughey's character? What is he in right now? Because it's unexplainable until you actually until it is actually explained to you what you are seeing. Because you finally because it comes in such a way that it looks strange, but you automatically recognize it. So it's definitely one of those movies. To me, it did have kind of a happy ending, but it's also a movie that leaves you with a lot of questions. There is some tragedy to that. Again, Christopher Nolan's going to show you the consequences of your decisions, and not specifically the audience's, but of the characters' decisions. And I'll say this: Matthew McConaughey ends up sacrificing quite a bit in his life just to save, not just his family, but the human race. So that's the only thing I could really give you without completely ruining the movie. There is a little bit of trivia I do know about this movie. Originally, Steven Spielberg was to direct this film. I'm kind of glad he didn't, and I say that with much love to Mr. Spielberg. I'm kind of glad that Spielberg did not direct this movie, because you need somebody like Christopher Nolan to direct a story like this, because it was far too complex and far too, I guess, scientific for Spielberg to do. I'm not saying that Spielberg can't do something like that. If you go back and look at something like Close Encounters, that took a lot of research and a lot of people in science and scientific and that were in science and physical fields to understand, what would a UFO look like? How would it approach? Same with Jurassic Park. What would happen if we could bring dinosaurs back? What would they look like? How would they behave? Things like that. But, I felt like with this film, it was far too complex for Spielberg to take, because there's a whole idea of, vegetation, water, time travel. There's wormholes and things like that. That's why Spielberg gave up on it, because he couldn't figure it out, and he very happily handed it off to Christopher Nolan to make it. I do know that Jonathan Nolan, his brother, who did co-write the script with his brother Christopher, Jonathan Nolan was the original screenwriter to the Spielberg adaptation. But again, Spielberg couldn't figure it out. I think it was a little bit too much for him. So he said, I got to pass. I've got some other projects I want to do. So here we go. We've got Interstellar by Christopher Nolan. Thankfully so, because I just don't think Spielberg could have handled it. And, and I'm not saying that because I don't like Spielberg. I love Spielberg. But I just, it's definitely in this time in Spielberg's filmmaking, I don't think that it was too complex. And of course, it's not the type of film that I could really see Spielberg doing. It definitely needed Christopher Nolan's touch. So I give it a thumbs up, solid 2 thumbs up. Do go see it in theater. Of course, there's multiple formats that this film is playing in. Matter of fact, some theaters were reinstalling film projectors to project the film. There's 35 millimeter, there's 70 millimeter, then there's the IMAX film, and then there's IMAX digital, and of course there's the regular 35 millimeter digital formats. You can go see them in those formats. So I myself saw it in 4K digital. I don't think it really matters. It matters to the filmmaker on what format it's presented. Probably your best bet to see this film would be in IMAX. However, I will caution you, I saw this in 4K digital. Okay, the theater was pretty loud, and the ceiling tiles were rattling because of the bass response. Now, I can only imagine what that would be like in IMAX. Okay, so I'm just giving you some precautions that it is a loud, sound-wise movie. So don't go in there expecting something quiet. I never do out of a Christopher Nolan movie because it's, there's a lot of gunfire and stuff like that. It is a loud, loud movie. So do take precautions and, plug your ears if you need to. So other than that, thumbs up, great movie. Do go see it. There is a little bit of hints of some influence movies like 2001. Definitely, it's a mind-blowing movie. It'll leave. There was people walking out of the theater going, I can't wrap my head about the last scene. I can't get that out of my mind now. So that's the impact of this movie. So it will leave you. Right now some people are kind of mixed in terms of reviews. You go to Rotten Tomatoes. The reviews are kind of, it's at 73% right now on Rotten Tomatoes. And just read the comments, like some of the regular people that have seen it, like they love it, and the good reviews they'll say they really love it, and then the bad reviews they'll say I can't understand it. It's one of those movies where you just go, So from me to you, see you later.